Welcome back to the Columbus Blue Jackets BAGM, and it's time for the annual prospect profile preseason report, whatever the hell you want to call it. As always, we're going to start with our team. Ryan Murray is pretty much a regular NHLer at this point. He's a top 4 defenseman. He has a big contract under his belt for the next, I believe, 8 years. It's either 8 or 7. Let's count right now. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So we got him under an 8-year extension. He'll be with the team until he's 31. And Oliver Bjorkstrand is just breaking into the NHL. This is going to be his first professional season with the NHL team anyway. He was on the AHL team last year. Ryan Johansson is going to actually be up for a contract extension this upcoming season. And he's been a pretty solid player for us. 88 overall. He's had 60-plus points in both seasons. So that's nice to see from him. And then we got Kirby Reichel, the youngster, getting first-line shot this year, or second-line shot this year instead of third-line time. And you look at those stats, some of them are nasty. And, he led our team in goals during the playoffs last year. He had 12 in 26 games. And we won the Stanley Cup. So, and then, Chris Kreider, Marco Dano, and that's after that it falls off on our main roster. But our minor league system is pretty stacked. We got Noah Hannafin, Jacob Chichern, who's a few years away, but Hannafin and Killington actually could almost play in the NHL next season if their progression warrants it, but we'll see how that works out. We also got Alexander Wenberg, who's going to be in the NHL next year. We got William Karlsson, who's 4-star. He could be in the NHL next year. And Chase DeLeo, we just signed in this offseason. We got a lot of centers in the minors. Nick Magyar. Stephen Templeton isn't signed, but he's in the minor system. Ben Thomas is signed. We signed him in the offseason, I believe. We also got Spencer Watson, and after that it drops off. So we're only doing to 3.5 stars. Dallas has Tyler Seguin, of course, but Valerie Nichushkin's really maturing well, 87 overall. Jamie Oleksiak has developed into an 83. Brett Ritchie is an 84, and Patrick Nemeth is an 85, and then Radek Faksa and Matej Stronsky, who are depth players for them, are really turning out to be nice picks for them as they are cracking the NHL this year. And then in the system, they got Julius Honka, offensive defenseman. He's close to breaking through. Dylan Strome, who they drafted in the year 1 draft. He's a couple years away yet. Jason Dickinson, who could probably even see time as soon as next year. And then they also got Cole Uli, Brett Pollock, who's very close to the NHL. Ralph Jarrett, who they just drafted. Brendan Truk, Matthias Backman, who they acquired in the Eric Cole trade, Aaron Hayden, Matthias Janmark, the other player that they acquired in the Eric Cole trade, and then they got Jakov Trenin as well. So they are a pretty stacked minor league team. Detroit, on their main roster right now, has Timo Pulkkinen, not really growing all that much. Neither is Anthony Mantha, but they'll hopefully grow more for them. And then they got Ryan Sproul, Andreas Anthoniasu, Riley Sheahan, Danny DeKaiser is pretty much maxed out at this point. Riley Sheahan really actually progressed very well. And Tatar, Xavier Ouellet is up to an 85. Yurko's up to an 83. Landon Ferraro didn't really turn into a whole lot, but he is an 82, so that's a solid NHLer at this point. And in the minors, Dylan Larkin's still waiting for his time. Could be a fringe NHL player this year, but they decided to give him a year in the AHL. This will be his first year in the AHL, actually, after playing 2 seasons at collegiate. They also got Joe Hicketts, Martin Frick, who's looking to be more of a bust than a good prospect at this point. They got Tyler Bertuzzi, who is a 4-star, 77 overall already. That's pretty good. They also have Schlappick, Vince Dunn, Zach Nastusuk, and then a 4.5 Red Star guy. So Edmonton on their main roster, they got Leander Seidel, who's getting NHL time this season. And then, of course, they got some of the regular players, up here. And then Darnell Nurse is, cracking the NHL this season. Oscar Klefbom's turned into a serviceable NHL defenseman, 85 overall. Justin Schultz is about to cap out. Nail Yakupov turned his career around, 85 overall he's up to now. And then in the minors, they really don't have... looks like it got out of whack. Hold on. They have a few good prospects, actually. David Musial, Juhar Kahira, Lucas Clark, Marc-Olivier Waugh, Joel Kivarinta, Martin Gernat, who's close to NHL ready. So is Dylan Simpson and Mitch Mraz, Dmitry Osipov, And that's it for their minor league system. The Florida Panthers, Aaron Ekblad, 5.5 stars, 90 overall at 20 years old already, so he is becoming a stud slowly. Alex Barkov, up to an 89 at 21. Huberdeau, a beast player. And Rocco Grimaldi's up to an 87, so that's some great center depth for them. They got Barkov, Grimaldi, and Nicholas Bjugstad, and as well as Brandon Peary. So, they did a pretty good job of developing their prospects. They also got Quentin Howden, Vincent Trocek. Alex Petrovic is up to an 87 overall, as well as Goodbranson developing pretty nicely. He's bottom 6 at this point, but he'll get better, of course. Jakob Saboro is their top prospect, 4.5 stars. So it looks like all their young guns are really in the NHL already, the ones that are developing into elite players. But they do have depth players like Marcus Pettersson, Andrew Abu-Asali, Jace Harliak, and Timu Vorosalu. Los Angeles Kings, Drew Doughty, pretty much capped out, but they got Valentin Zykov, who's turned into an 87 overall. Tyler Toffoli's up to an 88. Tanner Pearson up to an 84. And then in the minors league system, they got Jesse Puljujarvi, who's a few years away yet, but he was just drafted in this last draft. Adrian Kemp, though, a big power forward, is slated to be NHL ready as soon as next season. And then they got a few depth players throughout their minors, such as Tim Gettinger, Yeremy Waugh, Yone Tamela, Nikita Korostelov, Jean-Sebastien Taillefer, Connor Gay. Minnesota, Mikael Granlund turned into a pretty good center for them, 89 overall. Jonas Brodin is an 88 overall defenseman. Matt Dumba coming along slowly. He's looks like he's on an NHL caliber deal for the next 3 years, and it's not very high price, so that's a good deal for the Wild if he pans out. Nino Niederreiter up to an 85. Mike Winter getting NHL time at a 76 overall. That's nice for him. Marco Scandell is pretty much maxed out at this point. Charlie Coyle, 85 overall. Jason Zucker, 84 overall. And then in the minor league system, they have a couple guys. They got Sam Steele, Matthew Hotchkiss, and Travis Wood. Montreal has Nathan Beaulieu. He is up to an 86 overall. Alex Galchenyuk has turned into a beastly top-line center, 89 overall, and he is on a good contract for that. He is going to definitely get a pay raise in a couple years. They got Sven Andrighetto, who's up to an 85 overall. Charles Hudon, up to an 84. Jared Tenorti, up to an 85. Brendan Gallagher has remained at an 84. Jacob Delarose is an 82. And then in the minor leagues, they got Sean Day, who's going to be an absolute beast for them, paired with PK Subban. 4.5 green stars, 64 overall. Going to take a couple years to develop, though. Actually, closer to the NHL level is the Russian Ivan Provorov, who could be in the NHL in just a year or two, even. Michael McCarron, also close to the NHL, as well as Nikita Sherbak. Obviously, could be an NHL player this year. If you look at his offensive stats, he's got 86 passing and a pretty good slap shot, so he could be in a sheltered role, but they decided to just leave him in the minors for this season, give him a year of seasoning. Christian Thomas is not really developing for them, but Ryan Pilon is up to a 71 overall, just 19 years old. Carl Grundstrom is another good prospect for them as well. Nashville, we're going to move on to Philip Forsberg and Seth Jones, both panning out very nicely. Then they also got Pontus Aberg, who's up to an 84. Ryan Ellis up to an 85. And Austin Watson as well as Sissons up to an 84. Roman Josi pretty much capped out at 86. And then in the minors, they got Kevin Fiala close to NHL ready, as well as Victor Arvidsson. New Jersey coming along in the rebuild pretty nicely, as they have Demon Severson and John Merrill at 87s, and then they got Jelena and Larson at 90s. So they are coming along very nicely in New Jersey with their defensive core. Beyond that, Reed Boucher is up to an 85. Stefan Matsu is getting his first season of NHL experience this year at an 80 overall. And then in the minor league system, they still got Lawson Krause, as well as Adam Marsh, Shane Collins, Cameron Lizotte, and there's a few other depth prospects for them too. The Islanders, of course, they have Johnny T, but they also have Griffin Reinhart up to an 84 overall, as well as Ryan Pulock up to an 85 overall. Michael Del Call starting to come into his own as an NHL player. Looks like this is going to be his second season. We'll double check to see if it actually is going to be his second season. No, this is actually going to be his rookie year at 83 overall. So he's just breaking into the NHL, actually on an entry-level deal at 20 years old. He's going to be a stud for them. Ryan Strome, 85 overall. And Scott Mayfield's starting to come along to 82 overall. Brock Nelson's an 84. And that's about it for their NHL team. Now, as far as their minor league system, they still got Joshua Hosang, who's a 78 overall now. Mikko Rantanen, who's a 74 overall. Alex Black, Victor Cruz Rydberg, Sebastian Kahlberg. That's going to fill out their minor league prospect pool. The Rangers, not really a whole lot going on in the NHL level, but they do have Braden Burke in the minor leagues. That's about their only notable prospect. They're going to be going through a rebuild here soon, probably. Cody Ceci is almost as good as Erik Karlsson, up to a 91 overall. A great two-way defenseman to go with Erik Karlsson. Look at those defensive stats. He's a beast. And he can also produce points, too. 46 of them last year, including 10 goals. So he's an excellent partner for Erik Karlsson on that top two pairing. Beyond that, Mark Stone's up to an 87. Mika Zibanejad is up to an 86. Curtis Lazar is at an 83. John Stenzel is getting his first shot in the NHL this season, 78 overall defenseman. Matt Pumple, and looks like it's actually going to be one of his more recent campaigns. Did he already play in the NHL previously? No, he did not. It is his rookie season, but he is on an NHL level deal. So 82 overall, it's nice for him. And then in the minor leagues, they got Huld, Connor Schlichting, Nick Paul. Philadelphia, they have Sean Couturier, Braden Shen, all these kind of same group of players. Shane Gottisbehere is up to an 83 overall. Robert Hagg's up to an 83 overall as well. And Scott Lawton has blossomed into an 85. So if you're Philly, you got a lot of decisions to make regarding your center core for the next few years. Nick Cousins is also getting a shot. So speaking of centers, he's getting a shot this year at 79 overall on the NHL squad. Minor league-wise, they have Paul Bittner as well as Michael McLeod. So those are two building blocks for the future for Philadelphia, as well as Travis Sanheim and Samuel Morin. And then as far as the supporting cast, they got Nikolai Aube-Kubel, Nikolishin, Jan Skokta, and Troy Henley to fill out their minor leagues. Pittsburgh's got Derek Pouliot up to an 84. Sam Bennett, or Bo Bennett, excuse me, is up to an 85 overall. Oh, I didn't realize they might be related. Only Matt is up to an 85. Harrington's up to an 82. Looks like this actually might be his first season of action. We'll double check on that right now. Noah is actually going to be his second season. He had 5 points. It was plus 11 in 82 games last year, playing 48 penalty minutes. So he's looking to follow up a... excuse me. He's looking up to follow a decent rookie season. Scott Wilson is also getting a shot in the NHL this season, so that will be something to keep an eye on. Kasperi Kapanen is up to an 80. He could be in the NHL, but they decided to keep him down for one more year of seasoning. Oskar Sundqvist is also almost NHL ready, as well as Hans Bjornen and Anton Zarobin. Kay Schwery and Zay McKay are other notable minor league players for the Pittsburgh Penguins. San Jose, Mirko Mueller is really blossoming into a top two defenseman for them. They also got Chris Tierney, who's becoming pretty good for them. Konrad Abitschaller, and then Boone Jenner is up to an 83. I believe I don't remember trading them to... Did we trade Boone Jenner to... Huh. Oh, yeah, we got Justin Braun. Okay. Matt Nieto, Dylan Demolos. That was actually a pretty good decision to trade Boone Jenner because he still didn't grow. Minor league-wise, they got Sonny Milano, who's the other one we traded them. I remember that trade now. Nikolai Goldobin and Dylan Hetherington, who actually might not have been the greatest idea in the world to trade because he got all the way up to a 77 overall. But, you know what, you live and you learn. CJ Garcia, Nikita Yapalovs, Alexander Landraville, Rourke Chartier, Darren Dietz, and that's about it for their minor leagues. Ivan Barbashev's getting a shot this season in St. Louis, along with Jaden Schwartz going up to a 90, Vladimir Tarasenko's up to a 90, Ty Ratty's up to an 85, Yanni Hakanpää is getting his first shot in the NHL at 79 overall. Dmitry Yaskin is up to an 84 overall for them. Magnus Piarvi at an 81. It's pretty much capped out at this point. Robbie Fabry is in the minors at an 83, along with Dennis Yan at a 69. And sporting members, they got Thomas Andres and Zach Grzelewski. Tampa Bay has obviously Steven Stamkos, but beyond that, Druin's up to an 88, Palat's up to an 89, Kucherov's up to a 90, Hedman's up to an 88, Johnson's capped out at an 89, Vladislav Nemesnikov actually improved all the way to an 85, as well as Schuster up to an 85. Jonathan Marchessault's up to an 81 for them, former Blue Jacket. And that's about it for their NHL squad. In the minors, they got Travis Konechny and Anthony D'Angelo, as well as Adam Ernie. So they must have a pretty good depth if 83 overall Adam Ernie is in the minors. Braden Point, Joel Vermin. Slater Cuckoo is also in the minors. And Alexander Gosselin. I just want to see how bad their worst player is forward. They could probably him in over. They could have Ernie in over those guys, but anyway, Toronto, they got Morgan Riley still as a huge building block for them. Frederic Gauthier actually made the NHL this season though, so that's a good sign for them. As well as Brendan Lee Epsick is coming along pretty nicely for them. And Stuart Percy's up to an 83, so that's good. And as far as the minor leagues, they got Dylan Sprong and William Nylander as a future playmaker right wing combo, playmaker sniper center right wing. That was what I meant to say. But they got Curtis Roach, 48 overall, 18-year-old defenseman. We'll see if he ever even makes the NHL. It'll be interesting to see. And then they got fringe prospects like Connor Brown and Matt Finn. And then they got Jake Bricknell and Felix Martineau, who they hope one day can make the NHL. Vancouver's got Jake Vertanen as well as Hunter Shinkaruk. So they're really starting a youth movement. Bo Horvat's all the way up to an 88. Lucas Biza is up to an 86. Zach Cassie an 84. Adam Clendenning 83. Frank Corrado 83. Brendan Gaunce is then an 82. Nicholas Jensen's at an 83. And then check their minors. They got Jack Eichel, who's a 77 overall. So it looks like he's coming along pretty slowly for them. But, you know, he's got that 5-star potential. So hopefully he can turn into something for them. Cole Castles and Jared McCann are other notables, and they got Sven Barchi, Zach Wilkie, and David Wildheiber, Mitchell Van de Sumpel, and Andre Padan as supporting prospects in their system. And Washington, Andre Burakovsky's up to an 86 overall. In the minor leagues, they got Madison Bowie up to a 78, Matthew Barzal up to a 75, and Jakub Vrana is up to a 81. They're going to start him out in the minors, though, instead of trying to rush him into the NHL. Winnipeg has Josh Morrissey, Nikolai Ehlers, Jacob Trouba, and Mark Scheifele, all progressing very nicely. Nicholas Patan is a good player for them, it looks like, too. And Scott Kosmachuk is actually a surprise coming along pretty nicely for them. And as far as the minors, they got Patrick Lane, Nicholas Waugh, and Brendan Lemieux to look forward to in the near future. Anaheim's got Nick Ritchie finally up in the NHL. Hampus Lindholm is up to an 86 overall. Nick Kurtles is up to an 85, as well as Cam Fowler up to an 86, and Emerson Edom up to an 85. Ricard Raquel's up to an 85, so this team is just absolutely deep. Max Friedberg is going to play his rookie season an 80 overall, so the Anaheim Ducks are a team to watch out for in the West. And they even have a couple players that they haven't signed yet due to restricted free agency, such as Simone Desprez and Kyle Palmieri. So we'll see how things work out for the Anaheim Ducks this season. But Shea Theodore is on the fringe of NHL ready, so if there's an injury, look for his name to be called up if they don't re-sign Simone Desprez. But they also have Brandon Carlo and Dylan Coughlin, as well as Louis LeBlanc, who's pretty much a bust at this point in his career. Stefan Noesen and Antoine, he's pretty much maxed out, not worth noting. Arizona, though, Connor McDavid's up to an 87 overall. Let's see how his first season went, or if this is his first season. His first season, he had 61 points as a +10, and that's pretty good if you're on the Coyotes. That's a pretty good rookie season, I'd say. He's playing probably with Max Domi. Anthony Duclair is not far behind in his development, only one overall point worse. Brandon Gormley's a 90 overall. at 24 years old. Brandon Pierlini's getting a shot this year, 81 overall. Lucas Lesio is up to an 85. Henrik Samuelsson, 84. Mikhail Bodker, 85. They also got Patrick Weircock. Jordan Swarz. Tobias Reeder's actually turned into a pretty good player for them. Minor leagues wise, they got Tyler Benson, who we passed over in the draft. He wants to show us that it was a mistake. Laurent Dauphin's close. So is Christian Dvorak and Ryan McInnes and Mark Alt. Alec Bear, Lane Colmier, Jordan Martinook is actually pretty close. He's a lot closer than those other guys are. But Bear and Cormier are their pretty far off projects. So it'll be interesting to see if they come along for them. Boston, David Pastrnak is up to an 86 overall, so he continues to get a little bit better by the year. Ryan Spooner, his center, is up to an 85. And Alexander Koklachev, despite a little bit slow development at the beginning, has turned into an 85 overall, so that's good for him. Joe Morrow, 83. Torrey Krug, 85. Brett Connolly's up to an 87, so what was once looked at as a bust, he's actually turned into a pretty good player. Zach Phillips. And then in the minors, they got Anthony Stefano, Alexi Sarella, and Seth Griffith to look forward to still. Buffalo's got Rasmus Ristolainen, as well as Sam Reinhart, Miguel Grigorenko, Zemgus Girgensons, Mark Pissick, and Jake McCabe, Johan Larsson, Nikita Zadorov. And they just got a lot of talent seeping out of them. And they have Austin Matthews still in the minors, too. So they are definitely going to be a team to watch out for in the future. Nick Merkley is also pretty good. Very good prospect for them. And then beyond that, they got Justin Bailey, Nicholas Baptiste, Matthew Beauregard, Julian Gauthier, William Carrier, Daniel Catanacci, Vaclav Karabasic, Jordan Subban. So a lot of their prospects are almost NHL ready. They're just 1 or 2 years off each, besides Gauthier and Matthews. But you know, a lot of the other ones are very close to NHL ready. Calgary, Sean Monahan's turning into a top center for them at 85 overall. TJ Brody's up to an 87. Johnny Gaudreau's up to an 88. Bill Arnold up to an 83. Marcus Granlund up to an 85. And as far as their minor league teams, they got Sam Bennett up to a 79, so he's coming along pretty slowly. Mitch Marner's up to a 73. He's not that far behind Sam Bennett's development. Morgan Klimchuk, Patrick Seeloff, Emile Poirier, and Nicky Petty. So a lot of their players are not that far off. That's good for them. Carolina's got Elias Lindholm, Justin Falk, Victor Rask, Skinner, Ryan Murphy, Trevor Carrick, Brock McGinn. So it looks like they're still very much a young team on the up. And they got Hayden Fleury in the minors too, with Nicholas Malosh and Jake Krisky. And Sidorov and McEwen are close to NHL-ready prospects, it looks like. Well, maybe not Sidorov, but they're going to be pretty good players for Carolina one day. Chicago, for some reason, they got Teravainen in the minors. I don't know why that is. He's an 88 overall. You'd think he'd be a great second-line center behind Taves for them. But they got Saad, Rundblad. Not a whole lot different than before. They got Vili Polka. Ryan Hartman up, though. And Mark McNeil's actually turned into a pretty good center for them, 85 overall. Minor leagues, obviously, they got Teravainen, but they also got Jake Bean, very far away from the NHL. Noah Robinson, same kind of story. Stefan LeBlanc's pretty close. And Trevor Van Riemsdyk not getting a whole lot better since his rookie year. And then the final team, Colorado. McKinnon's up to 91, Landeskog's up to 88, Tyson Berry's up to 90, and Duchesne's at 87 as a second-line center. Chase Bigris, Ryan O'Reilly, Stefan Elliott, David Savard, who we traded them, Duncan Siemens, all doing very good as supporting players for the Colorado Avalanche, and that wasn't what I wanted to do. I wanted to go to in the system. They got Logan Brown and Pavel Zacha close up in the pipeline as top prospects. Connor Bleakley, Alexei Papin, and Vyacheslav Topeko are very close. So that wraps up Prospect Report. Next episode, we're going to start simming. I didn't do goalies this year because I decided I'm going to start doing goalies every even year before the preseason, because otherwise it's kind of like, well, there's no goalies that come straight out of the draft and play, so it's kind of just like the same thing every year. So we're going to start doing goalies every even-numbered year. So we'll do it before year 2, before year 4, before year 6, and this is year 3. So thank you guys for watching. Hope you enjoy, and we'll see you in the next episode for some sim.